Hello, my awesome project managers. I hope you're doing well. Those of you getting ready for the PMP exam, we're going to work on a little project here today, literally a Microsoft project. We're going to work on a schedule for your PMP exam, and we're going to break this down into areas of importance first. So I want to start off with the understanding about Agile. Okay, Agile is number one. Let's go ahead and auto schedule all this stuff. So focusing on Agile, there's a very robust curriculum that we have in our training. But for those of you that are not on our training program, there are certain things that you must be aware of. I'm going to try to break these down step by step. So the Agile Manifesto, right? The values, the Agile Manifesto principles. You got to know all this stuff really well. I'm just going to type in topics that, in my experience of training, I've found people finding these extremely valuable. So Agile Manifesto principles, the concept of the Stacy model, the concept of PMI's continuum of life cycles, the PMI table of life cycles in the Agile Practice Guide. And I believe that is on page 18. This one, I believe, is on page 19. Agile Practice Guide, page 19. The Stacy model is on page 14. Understanding the various models, and they're broken down quite deep in the Agile Practice Guide. So the predictive model has its own diagram. So does the hybrid. So does the, beg your pardon, the iterative model. So does the incremental model. And so does the agile model. All these models, you got to know them. And I'm going to give you pages for these as well. So if you haven't paid close attention to these pages, please do that. And let's check that page out. All right, so you've got the pages in there now, and it should read life cycle. That's a better word as opposed to model. Now we go to hybrid life cycles, and that is on pages 26 and 27. Okay, super important stuff. Okay, and then we go into all the other chapters, which I'll just put at a high level now that we've gone into some detail. But actually, at this point, after getting into this, it is probably not a bad idea for you to begin getting into the understanding of Scrum fundamentals. We actually call this course Agile for Practitioners. So if you are on our program, Agile for Practitioners, this is where this kicks in. And this is really all about the Agile think, how to think Agile. That's really what Agile is. It's thinking primarily. And then we talk about the practices. We also have deep coverage of Scrum, highly advised. This is read the Scrum Guide. So scrumguides.org, read the Scrum Guide for sure. Go deep on that. Other topics that are just, things you should make sure you check the box on. Servant leadership in Agile. right? Understanding the concept of the team charter, understanding the concept of the team charter being called many things. It's also called a team agreement. It's also known as a social contract. I'll put this on a different line so you can pay attention. Social contract, also known as team contract. Understanding the concept of an agile project charter. And by the way, these are on page 50, 49 to 50 in the Agile Practice Guide. All this stuff over here. So that's on page 49. And all this stuff about team charters, this is on page, I'll just put page, Agile Practice Guide, page 50. Okay. So these topics, to be quite honest, they shouldn't take you too long, but all the other methods, just have a high level understanding of them. FDD, TDD, the concept of scaling. You should know about scaling. And I'll say pay attention to those things in the Agile Practice Guide, the methods talked about there. Okay. So they talk about less, Scrum of Scrums, Discipline Agile, all that stuff. Pay attention to those as well. Okay. And what else? Take a look at the radar charts. It's in the Agile Practice Guide. You're going to have to hunt for that. So I highly recommend you to do all of this. Probably one of the most important ones is Scrum. Definitely know that. Understand the concept of story sizing, especially your story points, the concept of velocity, concept of course, Kanban as a ready way for you to optimize and maximize your efficiencies. Wherever you are, you can start with that. I'm going to leave it at this for now. Okay, so we have quite a number of things I want you to do. They don't have to be linked, but I'm going to link them. And I really don't think these will take you more than, so we talk about a day being 8 hours. Some of these won't take you that long. I think within a quarter of a day, you could be done with that and that. I'm going to give you a lot of slack in this, a lot of slack. So let's just roll with this. And let's link these as well. So on average, you're studying 4 topics a day. The topic of Scrum, I'm going to give it 2 days. It's going to be a lot larger than the others. So, I mean, if you started studying Agile, let's say you started studying on our system, or you even started studying it alone, reading these things I've talked about, the Agile Practice Guide, the Scrum Guide. Let me put some additional days in here for Agile Practice Guide. For you just to read the entire thing, I'm going to give you 3 days, a lot of slack in there, put a ton of slack in there for you. So if you were to start on the 9th of November, you should be done in 8 days. It's absolutely doable. You know, it's absolutely doable. we have a very robust course that covers so much of this content, covers it really, really well, So if you're looking to get started and move quick, I would say just go on down to the Praizion website, the Praizion.com website, and check out what we've got there. And I'll show you that before we round up. But this is just the Agile piece. Yeah, you could be done in 8 days, absolutely. I actually want all this to roll up. So let me indent it. It's meant to all roll up. There we go, all under Agile. All right, so that's your Agile component. Now, let's talk about the behemoth, the predictive component, okay? And most of it is in the PMBOK guide, okay? PMBOK guide. All right, so what do we have here? It's quite straightforward. This is one of the cool things about the PMBOK guide. The cool thing about the PMBOK guide is the chapters are arranged so methodically, very methodically. And no, it's not doing what I thought it would. I thought I was in Excel. Apparently I'm not. And I'm gonna have to do these by hand somehow. Okay. So chapter one is really more about the intro to the whole thing. I look at this as like an intro to project management, the PMBOK guide, projects, programs, portfolios, all that stuff. Chapter 2 is about environments, the environment in which projects operate. So this is all about environments. Then we go into chapter 3, and this is about the role of the PM. This is where leadership begins to be spoken about a little bit more, above and beyond servant leadership. We have different types of leadership, and you do need to know this for your exam, the powers of the project manager. What is the difference between power and leadership and the different types of leadership? Very interesting narrative there. That is definitely one I think they did a smashing job on in the 6th edition. Chapter 4 is all about integration. And this is a unification and the combination of the different processes at a high level to get your project charter, your project management plan, to direct and manage the project work, do your lessons learned, monitor how the project is going, manage change, change requests, and close out the project. And then we go into scope, which is all about scoping out the project and managing it. Chapter 6 is all about scheduling. And this is where we deal with the very software application that I'm using for this right here, Microsoft Project and others, the smart sheets and the Primaveras of the world. Chapter 7 is all about cost, determining what the budget is and managing that. Chapter 8 in the PMBOK guide is all about quality, fitness for use, conformance to requirements, customer satisfaction. Chapter 9 is all about resources. We're talking about human equipment, material supplies, and facilities. Chapter 10 is all about communication. I always tell people it's about the 5 W's, the 5 W's, not the 5 Y's, the 5 W's, which does have a Y in it. So it's the what, when, where, who, and why, and how of communication, the 5 W's and the H. Risk is all about uncertainty that matters, as my buddy, the risk doctor, would say. The Risk Doctor channel is out there on YouTube. Highly advise that you check it out. He's a mastermind when it comes to risk management, and we have collaborated to do stuff in the past. You might want to go to riskresponder.com and check out the course we have that goes above and beyond what you need to know in risk for this exam. Actually goes into the RMP exam. All right, chapter 13 is all about stakeholders, but chapter 12 is all about procurement management. And we have an unspoken chapter here. It's chapter 14. And our unspoken chapter 14 is the PMI Code of Ethics. Yep, that's on Spoken chapter 14. So I'll just say, if you are on our course, on our program, definitely read that code of ethics and watch the videos that go with it. All right. Now, in addition to all of this, I want to call out another important aspect of studying. So as you're doing this, it's not enough to just read. I'm not talking about reading a chapter. You know, for those of you on our program, I really want you to pay attention to some of the notes I'm going to put here. What I want you to remember is for every chapter or section listed, I want you to watch a video corresponding, like, so you've got chapter 1, right? There's a video, chapter 2, and so on. That's one thing, just one of the things I want you to do. Second thing I want you to do is read the PM, it's called Project Management Essentials book. Read the Project Management Essentials book for clarity. In fact, some people, they just go straight to the Essentials book, focus on it, and they refer back to the PMBOK guide as needed. But as a practitioner, I recommend also reading the PMBOK guide. Let me tell you why I'm asking you to do it. First of all, I think every project manager who takes an exam from the PMI based on a standard, you should read a standard. You should, because it's part of your professional responsibility. So when you join a company, you can give them the maximum value. You're not scrambling for the PMBOK guide when time comes to work. In my mind, knowing what is in the guide and knowing how to tailor it, because your understanding of how to tailor it, it's going to start with you reading it, you know, knowing what is in there, you know. And I've read every single one, I've taught every single one of those guides except the first edition, second edition, all the way through to seventh, you know, taught them, developed courses and material from them. So I feel that every project manager, and I'm not talking about, you know, outside of being a project manager, just as a project manager, not even if, you know, for training, you don't have to be a trainer to read the guide and to know what is in it, you know, because you can take what is there and apply it. And that's what I did all throughout my career. And I was able to add tremendous value to companies that I worked for and with, you know. There's nothing like knowing where everything is in the kitchen, in the house, right? In your closet, in your garage, right? There's nothing like knowing where everything is. I feel as a project manager, knowing the ins and outs of these standards, it just means you know where everything is. You know, that's why the moment they come out with a new standard, you know, from whichever one, risk, schedule, you know, earn value, whatever it is, scope, I'm going to go look for it and find out what has changed. So read the guide. It's not a question of, oh, we're going to have a bunch of questions from PMBOK. It's not for that. That, you know, I think that time has already passed. Because now people are saying, oh, I didn't get one question from the PMBOK guide. Whoop-de-doo. Well, you didn't get one question from the PMBOK guide on the exam, but in realities of life, you very well could. And then what are you going to do when you don't know where these things are? You've never used them. You've never used an Ishikawa. You have no idea what product analysis is. You have no idea of the concept of the flow of deliverables and how you can help a company by finding pain points in their process because you don't know process. You know what I'm saying? So this isn't about the exam. This is about just being a boss. A lot of people get certified, but they ain't bosses. You got to be a boss. Anyway, rant over. Let's continue. So watch a video, read the essentials book, read a PMBOK guide. This is a big one. Take a quiz or a mock exam per chapter. And our learning system is just full of them. Really great stuff. All right. And this same thing, ooh, can't copy. Come on now. I'm not able to copy this, but there you go. I'm going to take that same note. I'm going to put that same note over here because I really want you to be aware of that. So let's put that note in there again. Same thing. Don't forget every single one. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. All right. And let's do that here as well. Okay, let's get rid of that there. I'll take it out of this one because you know I am going to share this with you. I just want you to remember to be aware. All right, so let's roll these up and let's indent. And how much time would you need for this? You would need for chapter 1, just to be completely fair. I think 1 day is enough for chapters 1, 2, and 3. Okay, for chapter 4, I would say 2 days might kick in, the same for 5, same for 6, right? Do it with diligence. Chapter 7, 2 days. Yes, it's a big old chapter. Chapter 8, you should be able to do that in a day. Chapter 9, you should be. Chapter 11, 2 days should be fair. Procurement and stakeholder, a day apiece. Definitely code of ethics, 1 day. And if we roll all of those up, it doesn't look right. Oh, of course, because we haven't linked them. We're going to link them with a finish to start relationship. So let's link them and let's see the damage done. Okay, well, it's not too bad. It shows that by the 3rd, of December, you should be done. Okay. Now I'm going to give this to you, but I want you to put in the dates. Actually, let's link this. I don't think that's entirely correct because we're not doing a we're not doing a start to start relationship. Oh, this is going to be longer than I thought. So let's link those two. Let's link the end of the agile piece and the beginning of the predictive. So that's going to kick it out really, really far out. Ooh. So that's kicked everything out. So agile, that's predictive. Let's go ahead and save this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And I'm going to call it PMP Exam Schedule. Let's go ahead and put it in here. PMP Exam Study Schedule. Or you could call it Study Plan. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, so there it is, PMP Exam Study Plan. And for those of you who are fond of doing things the way the book says, why don't we go ahead and let's roll all of this up into some sort of summary task. All right, so we've got the agile and predictive piece. We want to put that as, we want to make those subtasks of a bigger thing, or we just want to show the big old project. Let's go to Gantt chart format and let's put in the project summary. There we have it. It's all rolled up nicely. All right. So there is something else I'm going to put in here just to make sure we track it. And we're going to call this mock exams and quizzes. So the mock exams and quizzes, you're going to take Agile Quiz 1. We got about 4 Agile quizzes. So let's put these in here. Agile Quiz 1, Agile Quiz 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And these are of different length. I think we got one of 15 questions. There's one of 20 questions, one of 50 questions, and there's one of 90 questions. And then we also have on top of this, the people, process, and business quizzes. People quiz. It's about 35 questions long. People, process, and business. And then we have a hybrid quiz, hybrid PM quiz. It's actually agile, hybrid, and predictive. Agile, hybrid, predictive. And this quiz is 180 questions. This will give you a good run for your time because it's just like the real test in terms of length and difficulty. People quiz, roughly, I want to say 30 questions or thereabouts. So this is something you could just take a day and focus on people, do it. See? There we go. Okay. And then we have a quiz for pretty much every chapter. So actually we have 49 quizzes. I should put that in here. Quiz. So process quizzes. And we have 49 of them. All 49. Everything from develop project charter all the way on down. They're about 5 questions a piece. So something like this, if you do, I'd say 5 a day, this could be a 30-day type of task. Okay, everything else could be a day a piece. So that's just a general one for everything else. There's so many quizzes on that system, so many of them. All right, now what we're going to do is we are going to indent all of these. Actually didn't need to give this one, let's just say mocks and quizzes. It's going to be a parent. These are going to be the children. Actually, this one should be the final one. So let's just move it around. Let's go ahead and indent and link. So indent and link. And we're going to make this a start-to-start relationship with line 2. So this is going to be a start-to-start relationship. Did we get it? I think we did. This is so much liberty. I have to make it a 15 for those quizzes, or 20. Let's make it a 20. That's more realistic. Okay. So there we have it. And ultimately, actually, there's one more thing. So for those people who are on this program, there is one more thing you have to do, and this is the Roy and Phil PMP Hybrid Immersion. We've heard from so many people. This was so helpful. So you want to watch the immersion course. Watch all the days. Usually it's 3 days or so. But day 1, day 2, day 3. I want to make sure everything is accounted for. Let's go ahead and link that. So if you're on the learning management system, it is in there. And let's say you spend a day on each of those. Let me put this, let me just say hybrid. That might be a better way of remembering it. Hybrid. So that you make sure you've taken down each area. Let me see if there's anything else. Let's delete this. Okay. So we're going to insert hybrid somewhere. And we're going to make hybrid. I'm going to make it a start to start. You figure it out. You figure out how to fit this in. But I'm going to make it a start to start relationship with some of the lesser intense things, like the less intense ones, these ones. So it'd be actually a good thing to do this. I'm just going to link this to, I'll link it to the hybrid life cycle 11. You figure it out as a good project manager. So let's do that. I'm going to make that an 11 start to start. Okay, and that's linked. We can see the linkages all the way down. This one is linked. Good. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, get your hybrid in somehow, get the quizzes in, get everything else in. And this is going to be PMP, take the exam, take and pass the PMP exam. That's your milestone. We're going to link this. And we're going to give you, let's give you some lag time there. Let's give you 3 days. Oops. Finish to start. There we go. So you got to finish the start relationship. We put some lag time in. Really, you should be done before the 25th. There's a whole bunch of lag all throughout, a lot of redundancy. If you really mean business and getting certified, this is how you need to think of your plan. It needs to be done like a project. You know, I would highly advise anyone trying to get certified to have a TikTok day-by-day plan. This is 31 days. Agile can be done in 10 days. The predictive piece, if it becomes so overbearing, 19 days. The hybrid piece, 3 days easy. The mocks and quizzes, they lie on top. And there you have it. Solid plan for you to ace this exam, all right? You want this schedule, encourage you to take a look. I'm going to try and put a link below so that you can grab it, okay, from our site. And this is how you need to think, my friends. This is how you need to think. In terms of the resources, let's just go ahead and open up the resource sheet. So in a resource sheet view, what I would recommend is the Agile Practice Guide. I recommend the PMBOK Guide, 6th edition. I recommend the Scrum Guide. I recommend the Agile Alliance site. I recommend the Praizion site as a resource to look for stuff you need. Highly recommend the Project Management Essentials. Okay. Someone says, what is the site? It's praizion.com. Can I do that? No. Let's try and do that. Let me try and link that for you. I'll link that to, can I do it? No, I don't think I can. Yeah, let me just go ahead and link it. So if you click on that, it should open it up for you just like that. Okay. What else? Highly recommend the project management audio digest. If you're in need of coaching, mentoring, training, and help like that, I recommend for one-on-one coaching to walk through this plan, pmanonymous.com, right? Again, I'm going to link it just so that those of you who need help, because I know some folks, they're not going to be able to pull this off alone. They need accountability. They need someone right there with them, you know, a coach working with them. And I do provide those services. So if you're looking for a coach to get you across the finish line, that's your buddy Phil. All right. Of course, I recommend the Praizion YouTube channel. Okay. Another one you absolutely want to have in your gig bag. I mean, it's free. You're not going to lose anything by subscribing. All right. So at this point, I would ask you to please hit like and subscribe so that we can be connected. And you'll always get a notification whenever we're out with a video. Okay. Let's see, what else do I recommend? Let's see. Anything else useful from the PMI? Of course, the PMI Code of Ethics. That's definitely one you want to read. And that's it. That's it. So going back to our Gantt view, I would assign definitely to this one. You got to read your Scrum guide. So let's assign some resources to this. So here we have Scrum guide. For a lot of this stuff, you also need the Agile practice guide. Let's see what else I put in here. Agile Alliance, Agile practice guide. Those are great resources for you. Scrum guide as well. And these are just reminders so that when you look at the Gantt view, it's going to remind you of stuff that you need to do. As far as this is concerned, I would highly, highly, highly recommend the resources. Let's actually go here. Highly recommend these resources to get you through. And definitely one-on-one if you need that. These are just reminders, all right? So I've made this a fixed, fixed duration type of schedule. You know, you could go in and tweak the start dates by going to project information. And if you wanted it to start, let's say you say, Phil, I'm not ready. I want to start on the 15th. I'll just choose 15th. And it moves all the dates for you. It just pushes everything out, which is really the way it should be. All right, so I'm going to put this in a link below. I wish you all the very best as you prep for your exam. You absolutely can do it. But have a plan, have a plan, have a plan. And you'll be glad that you did. I'll also put a PDF version for those folks, maybe an Excel version as well for those folks who need it. Talk to you soon. Bye. One more thing, I just remembered I didn't show you the site. So this is Praizion.com. When you come on down here, scroll down, take a look at what's available, okay? And sign up for some training if you need it. All right. Thank you and bye for now.